Hello everyone and welcome to my video lecture. Today we are going to start with prophase 1. Okay, it is a part of the lecture series which is based on cell cycle. I have already uploaded videos on cell cycle. Okay, you can check them out. I will leave the description links below, and I will also put the link to the playlist. You can see it on your top right corner. So I have already completed the cell cycle. That is one of the lectures. Then I finished with mitosis and then meiosis. Now in meiosis there are two parts. Okay, there is meiosis 1, there is meiosis 2, and in meiosis 1 there is a part which is called prophase 1. Okay, and this prophase 1 is a slightly bigger topic, so I had not covered the entire prophase 1 when I had made the meiosis video. So there is a separate video lecture and it is this lecture, right? So with this lecture we will be completing that entire lecture series of cell division. Okay, so let us start with today's topic. Those who have not subscribed to my channel and are watching this video, kindly do so, and it is very important that you press the bell icon, because if you don't press the bell icon you will not be getting any notifications. So do subscribe and press the bell icon. Okay, anyway, let's start with our topic for today, and it is prophase 1, right? So write down the topic. Okay, so prophase 1 is the first part of meiosis 1. Everybody knows meiosis is divided into two parts, meiosis 1, meiosis 2, right? Meiosis 1 is also called as reductional division because after meiosis 1 what happens is the chromosome number of the cells reduces to half. So suppose if this is the original cell, right, and it is having 4 chromosomes, then after meiosis 1 what is going to happen is the chromosome number of the daughter cells are going to reduce by half. So both the daughter cells are going to have 2 chromosomes each. Okay, and this step is called as meiosis 1. And then after meiosis 1 the second step is called as meiosis 2. Okay, and in meiosis 2 what is going to happen is each daughter cell is further going to divide to give daughter cells, and each of these daughter cells are going to have 2 chromosomes, correct? So the second meiosis, in the second meiotic division, the chromosome numbers are not again reducing by half. Okay, so that is called as meiosis 2, and meiosis 2 is not a reductional division, it is an equational division. So meiosis 2 is similar to mitosis. All this I have already taught in the lectures which I have put in the playlist called as cell division. So if you have not seen my lectures on cell cycle and mitosis, don't move directly to this lecture. If you are just concerned with prophase 1, then it's okay if you watch this video. Otherwise please watch the previous videos. Watch cell cycle first, then watch mitosis, and then come to this video, and then you can watch meiosis. Okay, anyway, so everybody knows what meiosis is, right? Now in meiosis 1 the first stage is called as prophase 1. So every meiosis is going to have prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase and cytokinesis. So meiosis 1 is going to have the first stage which is called as prophase 1. Now this prophase 1 is a very long stage of meiosis 1. Please remember, it is the longest stage of entire meiosis. So prophase 1, for study purposes we divide that into 5 sub stages. Okay, so prophase 1 is further divided into 5 sub stages, and I will write them down. The first one is called as leptothene. This is the first part of prophase 1. Then after leptothene, the second sub stage of prophase 1 is called as zygothene. Then the third subphase under prophase 1 is called as pachythene. Very important stage, pachythene. I will explain that later to you. Okay, there is a phenomena which is called as crossing over which occurs in this phase. Then the fourth substage is called as diplothene, and the fifth substage under prophase 1 is called as dikinesis. So these are the 5 substages that we have to study under prophase 1, right? So all the other rules of prophase which we have already seen in mitosis, all those rules remain relevant. For example, what happens in prophase? First of all, chromatin condenses into chromosomes, right? Chromatin is the genetic material which is present in the entire cell cycle. It is present in the interphase of the cell cycle, right? And as soon as the meiosis or mitosis begins, what happens is that chromatin condenses or tightly packs into chromosome. So the condensation of chromatin to chromosome, that begins in prophase. Second thing which happens is the nucleolus and the nuclear membrane, they disappear. Third thing which happens is the centrosomes begin to move away from each other, and the centrosomes give rise to spindle fibers. Okay, if it is an animal cell, then the centrioles will be present, they will give rise to the spindle fibers or microtubules. If it is a plant cell, then the centrioles will be absent. Okay, anyway, let us start with the first stage, which is called as leptotin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, or I'm going to show all the phases side by side. Okay, so it will become easier for you to understand. Let us start with the first phase, which is called as leptotin. Correct, this is the first phase. Now in leptotin, which is the first part, okay, of prophase 1, prophase 1 has just started. So the cell that I'm going to draw over here, okay, suppose if this is the cell, then please remember that the chromosome formation step has just started, the condensation step has just started. So chromatin has not been entirely converted into chromosome. So these are just newly formed chromosomes which are still undergoing packing, or which are still undergoing condensation. So these chromosomes are very, very thread like. Please remember, see, the meaning of leptotin means thread like chromosome. The chromosomes are very, very thin. See, normally if I say that imagine a chromosome which is having two chromatids, then this is how we imagine the chromosome to be, right? One of the chromatids, second chromatid, and a centromere in between. But the chromosome which is formed in this leptotin phase, it is very, very thin and thread like. And if you look at it, it would seem that it is having only one chromatid. However, the thing is, both the chromatids are stuck to each other, and because of them the chromatids are not separated properly. You cannot see the two sister chromatids because the sister chromatids are stuck to each other. The condensation is still going to happen. So please remember this, that this is a stage where the chromosome is very, very thin and thread like. So newly formed chromosomes are formed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 4 chromosomes over here. Okay, I'm going to show them with different color. Before I do that, I'm going to show the nuclear membrane. Okay, so this is the nuclear membrane which I am drawing, right? And I will also show the centrosomes. So these are the centrosomes which are present, and inside them, if you want, the centrioles. Okay, the centrosome movement also slowly begins to the centrosomes begin to move away from each other as the prophase progresses, right? Anyway, now coming to the chromosomes, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw one of the chromosomes in red color. So this is one chromosome, right? The other one I am going to show in blue color, right? Then the next one I'm going to show in green color, and one more in yellow. So over here, if you can see, I have shown 4 chromosomes. Each of the chromosome looks like it is having only one chromatid. Please remember, each of the chromosomes is having 2 chromatids, but they are stuck to each other because the condensation has just begun. These are newly formed chromosomes, and this stage is called as leptotin. Please remember. Now, one of the important characters, or one of the important things that you need to remember in leptotin is that most of the books say that this stage has something which is called as a bouquet stage. Now, what is the meaning of bouquet? So everybody knows what a bouquet of flowers is. So in this stage, what happens is the chromosomes basically move to the end where the centrosomes are present. Okay, so as you can see over here, so if I want to show the bouquet stage, then this is the nuclear membrane, right? And these are the centrosomes, correct? And now when I am drawing the chromosome, then the chromosome appear like a bouquet. Do you see this? Okay, it is folding up, and both the ends of the chromosome are facing the end which is near to the centrosome, and it forms a bouquet like structure. That is why this is also called as the bouquet stage. Please remember, the bouquet stage is present in leptotin, where the thin thread like chromosomes, their ends curl up and they point towards the area which is closer to the centrosome. Is this clear? Okay, so that is the bouquet stage. Apart from that, what else do you need to remember in leptotin? You need to remember that the chromosomes are thread like. So I will write down over here, chromosomes are thread like. Okay, and the condensation has just begun over here. So you will not see proper sister chromatids. You will see the chromatids which are attached to each other. That is why chromosomes will appear like they are having a single chromatid. Is this clear? Okay. Now coming to the next stage after leptotin, that is called as the zygotine. Okay. Again, I am going to draw the cell. We'll rub this part off. Okay, so this is the cell. Now again I am going to draw the nuclear membrane slightly bigger. Okay, show the centrosomes slightly, they have moved away from each other. Now what happens in zygotine? The very important thing that happens in zygotine is that the homologous chromosomes, they begin to pair up. Okay, now what is the meaning of homologous chromosomes? See, homologous chromosomes are the chromosomes which are similar in shape and size. For example, suppose if I draw 4 chromosomes over here, then if I ask you, suppose if this is chromosome number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, and this is number 4, and if I ask you, out of these 4, which chromosomes are homologous chromosomes, then chromosome 1 and 2, they are homologous chromosomes. Similarly, 3 and 4, they are homologous chromosomes. Please remember that. Okay, 1 and 4, they are not homologous. Similarly, 2 and 3, they are not homologous. So homologous chromosomes are chromosomes which are similar in shape and size, and what happens in zygotine is that the homologous chromosomes come close to each other and they attach to each other, and because of that, structures like this are formed. Okay, so if two unsimilar chromosomes, if they attach, then the structure will not be stable. It won't be like this, that this is one of the chromosomes and this is the second one which is smaller. No, such a pairing cannot occur. So only the homologous chromosomes which are similar in shape and size, they are going to pair up. Okay, and that structure is called as a bivalent. So what I'm going to do is, over here I'm going to show in the diagram the pairing up of homologous chromosomes. Please remember, now slightly the chromosomes have opened up. Okay, so now you can slightly make out the difference between the two sister chromatids. So what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to draw the chromosomes, right? This is the first chromosome. Now this chromosome has paired with the other chromosome, which is the blue one. Okay, so these are the two homologous chromosomes which have attached to each other, if you can see in the diagram. Then the other two chromosomes which are smaller, again they will be paired up with each other. Okay, so if you can see, if you want, I can draw these diagrams, I can magnify them. This is one of the chromosome, and this chromosome has paired up with its homologous chromosome, right? This is one of the pairing, and the other pairing is like this. So now you can see this pairing up has occurred, and this is one of the main things which happens in zygotine. Okay, so this structure which is formed, these structures are called as tetrad. So if you want to write over here, I can call this structure as a tetrad, or I can call this structure as a tetrad. What is the meaning of a tetrad? Tetrad means 4 chromatids. See, if you see this structure number, if I label this as A and I label this as B, if you see diagram A, then you can see in that diagram there are total 4 chromatids present. So that structure is called as a tetrad. Similarly in B, how many chromatids are present? 4. So it is also called as a tetrad. The other name for a tetrad is, it can also be called as a bivalent. Okay. Now what is the meaning of bivalent? See, bi stands for 2. So in a structure, when there are 2 chromosomes attached to each other, then that structure is called as a bivalent. So now in diagram A, how many chromosomes are joined to each other? 2. So it is a bivalent. Similarly in diagram B, how many chromosomes are attached to each other? 2. So it is a bivalent. So if you want to name the structure according to the number of chromatids, then the structure is called as a tetrad. If you want to name the structure according to the number of chromosomes, then it is called as a bivalent. Okay, and this joining of chromosomes, this joining of homologous chromosomes, this phenomena is called as synapses. I'm going to write it down over here. Please remember this word synapses or synapses. Synapses means joining of 2 homologous chromosomes. This phenomena or this process is called as synapses. Now why are the 2 chromosomes which are homologous joining? What is causing them to join? So there is a glue or there is a gum like substance which attaches the homologous chromosomes to each other. Okay, and that gum is called as a synaptonemal complex. Please remember. So over here in both these diagrams, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the synaptonemal complex. Okay, and so over here, if you see this area which I have shaded between the 2 chromosomes, that is the area of the synaptonemal complex. Okay, and in the other diagram also, this area between the 2 chromosomes, that is called as synaptonemal complex. So synaptonemal complex acts like a gum and it helps in attachment of the 2 chromosomes with each other, 2 homologous chromosomes with each other. So it is present in between the 2 homologous chromosomes, and both the chromosomes which are homologous, they are attached throughout their length. Please remember. Okay, and this basically synaptonemal complex is made up of proteins. I will not go into the details of that. So remember, what is synaptonemal complex? It is the gum that is joining the 2 homologous chromosomes, and this process is called synapsis, and the structure which is formed is called as a bivalent or a tetrad. Is this clear? So I hope all these terms are clear. Okay, now we are going to proceed with the next stage of prophase 1, which is called as Pachytene. Anyway, let us write down the important points in zygotine. Okay, so first point is, I'm going to write it down over here so that we have enough space. First point is going to be homologous chromosomes pair up, right? And that is called as what? Tetrad or bivalent. And next point is, I will say that the sister chromatids are slightly more visible. Okay, now what are sister chromatids? I have already explained you in my mitosis lecture. So sister chromatids are slightly more visible, the 2 chromatids of the same chromosome. Okay, so these orange chromatids, both the orange chromatids of the same chromosome, they are called sister chromatids. Similarly, both the blue chromatids of the same chromosome, they are called sister chromatids. So the separation occurs. I told you that in leptotene the 2 sister chromatids do not appear separate because they are completely joined. Now the condensation has progressed much more in the zygotine stage, and because of that now you can see that the chromosome is opening up. That is why you can actually see an X-like structure. Still the condensation is not completely done. Okay, in Pachytene you will be able to see the sister chromatids much more clearer. Okay, so this is your second step, which is called as zygote. Please remember, this is where synapses occurs or pairing up of homologous chromosome occurs. Now coming to the third step, okay, which is called as Pachytene. All right, so we have already studied with leptotene, we have finished zygotine. I hope both these stages are clear. Now we are going to start with a stage which is called as Pachytene. Now Pachytene, as I told you earlier when we started with this lecture, it is the most important stage in prophase 1 because something which is called as crossing over or recombination, that step occurs over here. So now what is going to happen in Pachytene is, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the diagram of the cell again. So I'm going to draw it slightly bigger this time. This is the cell, right? Then this is the nuclear membrane. I have drawn a bigger nuclear membrane because I want to show what is going on inside with the chromosomes, right? The centrosomes, if you want, you can show them slightly separated, and you can show some spindle fibers which are coming out from them. Anyway, coming back to our diagram, so we have seen that the chromosomes over here, right? These chromosomes, what happens is they have already paired up and now they will open up even more. So the same diagram I'm going to show over here, right? This is one of the homologous chromosomes. This is the other homologous chromosome. Now you can see the structure has opened up even more. And then this is one of the homologous chromosomes and this is the other one. So I have drawn both the tetrads over here. Now what exactly is happening in Pachytene? So I'm going to show that in a diagram which I'm going to draw over here. Let us take this example. So what happens is, this is one of the chromosomes, right? And this is the other chromosome which is attached to it. Now this is the tetrad. Now what happens in Pachytene is, the two chromosomes which are attached to each other with the help of synaptonymal complex, they begin to intertwine on top of each other. So they begin to coil on top of each other and then they begin to pull each other. And because of that, what happens is, these chromatids, okay, these chromatids, so this chromatid which I am showing out over here, this chromatid and this chromatid, these are called non-sister chromatids. See, chromatids which belong to the same chromosome, they are called sister chromatids. And in a tetrad, the two chromatids which are attached to each other, which belong to different chromosomes, they are called as non-sister chromatids. So this orange chromatid and this blue chromatid, they are non-sister chromatids, and because of the winding and pulling of the two homologous chromosomes, these non-sister chromatids, they break. Okay, and because of that, what happens is, the structure becomes something like this. I'm going to draw it over here. This is the chromatid, and now this chromatid, if you see this non-sister chromatid, it has broken up, and similarly this non-sister chromatid, if you see, it has broken up. That is because of the pressure exerted on each other by the non-sister chromatids. Now what happens is, when these non-sister chromatids, they break up, okay, later on they again rejoin, and the rejoining is somewhat different. So what is going to happen over here is, now I am going to show this diagram, okay. And if you see this diagram, the rejoining is somewhat different, okay. And I'm going to obviously join these two, okay, so I should have drawn them together. All right, I will do that. So now if you see, what has happened is, the broken parts, they have not attached to their respective chromosome, they have gone on to the other side. For example, these red fragments of this chromosome, they have kind of gone over and migrated to the opposite side, they have crossed over. Similarly, these broken fragments, the blue ones, they have gone on to this side, and because of that, now you have a recombinant chromosome. What is a recombinant chromosome? A recombinant chromosome is a chromosome which is having fragments from the opposite side, and this process which I have just shown you is called as crossing over. What is the meaning of crossing over? So crossing over means the genes from one non-sister chromatid, they move to the other non-sister chromatid. That happens during which phase? Pachytene phase. And because of that, what happens is the two chromosomes, they are now called as recombinant, because now this left chromosome and this right chromosome, they do not resemble the previous chromosomes, because now both the chromosomes are having genes from the opposite chromosome, so they are kind of a hybrid or mixed chromosome, and this is very important in evolution. And because of this, you know that the offsprings do not completely match their parents, they have properties of both the parents. Okay, so crossing over or recombination is a very important phenomena. I'm going to write it down over here. This is also called as recombination, or it is also called as crossing over. Is this clear? Okay, so this crossing over or recombination, it occurs in which phase? It occurs in Pachytene phase. Tetrad formation or bivalent formation occurs in which phase? It occurs in zygotine phase. Please remember. So we will make the changes in this diagram over here. I will add slight blue parts to this chromosome, and I will add slight orange parts to this chromosome. Similarly, the same thing will happen in the yellow and green chromosome. You might not be able to view it properly because the diagram is much smaller. So I hope you get the point. This is called as recombination. The two chromosomes which are homologous, they exchange genes, and that is why it is called crossing over or recombination. This is what is going to happen in Pachytene stage. Also, the tetrad is much better visible because now the sister chromatids have opened up. Okay, now next stage which occurs in prophase 1, that stage is called as diplotin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub this off. I hope this recombination part is clear. Okay, because we don't have much space. So okay, what do I write down in Pachytene? Which characters do I write down? So I will write down over here. The first thing which happens in Pachytene is crossing over. Okay, and that is what? That is exchange of genes by non-sister chromatids. Please remember this. Okay, and this is also called as recombination. Very important. Is this clear? Okay, one more point if you want to write down. The sister chromatids are more clearly visible. So with each passing stage of prophase, the sister chromatids are going to be much better visible because the chromosome is going to open up, right? So remember this. Now moving on to the next stage, which is called as diplotin, right? Now what is going to happen in diplotin is, as soon as the crossing over part is complete, the two homologous chromosomes, they begin to move away from each other. Okay, now their job of exchanging genes has ended, right? So now they will begin to repel each other. This is going to happen with each tetrad or each bivalent. Okay, so in diplotin, what happens is the structure of a homologous pair or the structure of bivalent or tetrad, it becomes very clear. You can properly see two chromosomes which are X-shaped. So in diplotin, what is going to happen is, I'm just going to draw the chromosomes now. I'm not going to draw the nuclear membrane, the cell. So in diplotin, if I want to show, then you can see a very proper structure can be seen. You can see both the homologous chromosomes are properly X-shaped. Okay, then the other two, if you want to see, again they will be very properly opened up. Okay, and now here we are going to learn a new word, and that is called as chiasmata. Okay, I will write down the word over here. The word is called as chiasmata. Now what is chiasmata? So what happens in diplotin? The area where the chromosomes they overlap, that X-shaped area which is formed, that is called as chiasmata. So let me just magnify this same diagram. So this is one of the homologous pair which I am going to draw, which I have already drawn above. Now this area, if you see this X-shaped area which I am circling and this X-shaped area, this is basically called as a chiasmata. So chiasmata is very properly seen in the diplotin stage. Okay, so many people have a confusion between synaptonemal complex and chiasmata. See, the difference is very clear. Chiasmata is the gum which is joining both the homologous chromosomes. So if I want to show you the chiasmata over here, then chiasmata, if I show you with green color, then this green area which I am showing, this area which I am shading, that is the area of synaptonemal complex. Okay, whereas chiasmata is this X-shaped structure where the two homologous chromosomes are overlapping each other. So that is the difference between chiasmata and synaptonemal complex. Also remember, as the two chromosomes begin to move away from each other, the amount of gum or the amount of synaptonemal complex will reduce because they are moving away. See, initially both the chromosomes which were homologous, they were completely stuck to each other. So the amount or the quantity of synaptonemal complex was very large, but as they began to move away from each other, the amount of synaptonemal complex which was joining them, it began to reduce. So diplotin stage is also called as desynapsis stage. I will write down over here in the bracket. Desynapsis means that the chromosomes begin to repel each other. In synapses, the chromosomes attach to each other, they come close to each other, but in diplotin they begin to repel each other, and because of that the amount of synaptonemal complex, it decreases in diplotin stage, and the structure which is shown in a X-like shape where the two non-sister chromatids overlap, that is called as chiasmata. So the chiasmata is very clearly seen. So if a question is asked that if you want to observe chiasmata in prophase 1, which stage should you observe, then the answer is diplotin. Is this clear? I hope the difference is clear. Synaptonemal complex is the gum which is attaching both the homologous chromosomes. It reduces in diplotin because the two homologous chromosomes begin to move away from each other. Chiasmata is the X-shaped structure which is formed by the overlapping parts of the non-sister chromatids. Only these overlapping parts, this X-shaped structure, that is called as chiasmata. Is this clear? Whereas over here, this part is called as synaptonemal complex, which is reducing. So I hope this is clear. Okay, so that ends our fourth substage under prophase 1, which is called diplotin, and the last stage that we are going to study under prophase 1, that step is called as dikinesis, which is a very simple step which I am going to show over here. Okay, now what happens is, as I told you, after recombination or after crossing over, the chromosomes begin to repel each other. Because of that, a chiasmata can be seen. Also, synaptonemal complex decreases. Now in dikinesis, the chromosomes begin to move further apart. Please remember. Okay, so now if I want to show the homologous chromosomes in dikinesis, then the diagram that I am going to draw, it is going to be like this. So now can you see that the chromosomes have further separated, they are going away from each other, and because of that what has happened is, if you see the chiasmata, see in this diagram, the chiasmata is more towards the centromere of the chromosome. If you see, it is towards the center, but here if you see the areas which I am marking as chiasmata, this yellow circle and this yellow circle, the chiasmata has moved towards the tips of the chromosomes. That is because the two chromosomes are pulling each other. Okay, and only those tips are now attached to each other, and that is called as terminalization. So I'm going to write it down over here. Something called as terminalization occurs in dikinesis. What is terminalization? Terminalization means the two homologous chromosomes, they are now only attached at their tips, terminal ends. Okay, so if you want to see the difference, I'm going to draw a diagram, okay, and show you how it is going to differ from diplotin. So suppose if in diplotin, okay, so just imagine this is the diplotin stage, right? And now we move on to the dikinesis stage. Now the same thing can be drawn like this. So I hope you can make out the difference between diagram 1 and diagram 2. In diagram 1, the chiasmata is more towards the center or more towards the centromere, whereas in diagram 2, the chiasmata has moved towards the endpoints or the terminal ends of the chromosome, that is called as terminalization. And what is going to happen? This is the last stage of prophase, then metaphase will come. In metaphase, these are going to align in the metaphase plate, and in anaphase they will separate. So after crossing over, the job of the homologous chromosomes or the tetrad or the bivalent is complete, and that is why they begin to repel each other. As they begin to repel each other, the amount of synaptonemal complex decreases, whereas the chiasmata becomes much more clearer in observation. Okay, so please remember that. Okay, and dikinesis is the last step. After dikinesis, the next step is metaphase 1, which I have already explained in my meiosis video. So this is the complete description of prophase 1. Now coming to what happens to the nucleus and what happens to the nucleolus, nuclear membrane, centrosomes. Now the nuclear membrane, it begins to disappear somewhere around the diplotin and the dikinesis stages. In the dikinesis stage or the last stage of prophase 1, the nucleolus completely disappears, the nuclear membrane disappears. Also somewhere around the Pachytene stage, the centrosomes begin to move away from each other. Okay, and by the time dikinesis occurs, the centrosomes are present towards the poles. Okay, so that movement I have not shown in this diagram because that is not very important, but please remember that in entirety prophase 1, what is going to happen? Condensation of the chromosomes is going to occur. Okay, it is going to be complete in the dikinesis stage. The nuclear membrane will be not present in dikinesis, nucleolus will not be present, centrosomes will have reached their pole, the centrioles will have formed the microtubules or spindle fibers. Okay, so that is what happens in prophase 1. So I hope all the 5 steps are clear. Just again coming back to the steps that we just studied. Okay, let me go back, let us go through the important points. I know this is turning out to be a lecture which is longer than we expected, but it is better to get the concepts right. So in leptotene, the chromosomes are just newly formed, they are very thread like. Okay, and the chromatids, the sister chromatids, they are not visible because they are joined to each other. In zygotine, what happens is the pairing up occurs of homologous chromosomes, it is called bivalent or tetrad. Okay, the process is called synapsis, and what is joining the chromosomes? Synaptonemal complex. So synaptonemal complex is maximum in zygotine stage. Then the third stage is called as the Pachytene stage. What happens in Pachytene stage? Crossing over or recombination occurs. Okay, the two homologous chromosomes twist and pull each other apart, and because of that the non-sister chromatids, they break and the genes get exchanged. That is called crossing over. I already showed that to you when I had drawn the diagram. And now the recombinants are formed, right? So that is what is happening in Pachytene stage. So please remember, crossing over happens in Pachytene, not in zygotine. Next stage is diplotin. In diplotin, what is going to happen? The chromosomes are going to repel each other, homologous chromosomes, so that X-shaped structure called chiasmata is much clearly visible. And also the synaptonemal complex quantity goes down because of the repulsion. Okay, and that is why this step is also called desynapsis, because synapsis is when the chromosomes come close to each other and stick to each other. And last stage is called as dikinesis, where the chromosomes will repel each other even to a greater extent, and the chromosomes are now only attached by their tips, and that is why it is called terminalization. Also remember, by the end of dikinesis, nuclear membrane has disappeared, nucleolus has disappeared, chromatin has obviously completely condensed into chromosomes, and the centrosomes have moved towards the opposite poles. So that is the end of this lecture. Okay, and I hope Prophase 1 is clear, and with that our entire cell division playlist is complete. I'm going to add this lecture to the playlist. Okay, so friends, if you like this lecture, if you learned something new, or if you understood Prophase 1 to a greater extent by viewing this lecture, please put in a like, share it with your friends, and please do subscribe and press the bell icon. Okay, thanks a lot.